And we're back. So, I have seen the Reddit post about the overlaid map and how big the DLC is compared to the original and how it wouldn't really fit, right? But I have some theories of my own. Hear me out, right? So, there's a couple of things that we have to go over. A couple of different possibilities, which I've already laid out. So, we'll start with these pretty simply with where the DLC begins. We're talking about the DLC map, right? Technically, it begins right here. I went and overlaid the underground so that it's pretty much right exactly where it would be in game, right? Even if it's just like a bit up or a bit down. Right here is about where the DLC starts in the overworld, which is like in the middle of Caelid. So, if the map had a shared location, I should start by saying I don't believe any of these first theories, but this is just a couple of different ones that may fit. If it, like, the location you're standing in, the overworld, right, the base game world, is the same as where you wind up at the start of the DLC, this is how the map would be laid out, right? If it was just like literally how it's folded in on itself. Oh, let's just zoom in. As you start right here. And that's where the DLC begins. See? On this top on this top layer. So, that's technically where it would be in that theory, which is more towards the right. However, there's a couple of things that don't line up, right? There are dragons flying around here. People think it might be where Crumbling Farum Azula would be. I thought that originally until I went and visited this point in the map, right? So, let's just drop that. Speaking of Crumbling Farum Azula, let's overlay that and see what that looks like. So, bam. Crumbling Farum Azula. A bit too high. We know that this isn't really... This is like a sheer drop off of the mountain, but it wants you to believe that there's like... There was supposed to be land here, right? This is like... even though in-game it's just a drop-off. Kind of overlaps height-wise with the mountain. It's not exact, right? It's already kind of fucking up. The scatter tree would just be in the top right of the right, like next to the Halig tree, where this boat is in an insignificant area. And then there's this peninsula here that goes underground into like the grave sites. But that would be if Crumbling Farum Azula was like this chunk taken out of the map, right? Because this is where Bale like made nest. It's not actually where the city came from. A little bit of spoilers, but let's put that away. So here's this. This is kind of more of what I'm leaning towards, right? So here is Caelid. I did not edit this bottom layer map, right? This is just kind of how it is in game. If you place this like a puzzle piece, where this divot is and where this divot is, right? You kind of have almost an actual island. Like this looks more like a giant map, right? Like this looks understandable. On top of that, this we know is a giant flat battlefield. Kind of on the same layer as the bottom flower area, And if Kaled looked like Lindell before it got fucked up, or just like, you know, had the same kind of flowers and stuff, or not even the same kind of flowers, just, you know, trees and foliage, even if it's a different color, it could be these trees, you know, in like the red zone where the water is. So, and that would explain why the scarlet rot kind of mixed with the red turned this entire area super red, even though the Halig tree is where it originates from, and it ain't red as, you know, it ain't nearly as red. So, kind of completes the red map here. That makes sense. And then also there are flowers, and then more south, it's kind of like Lindell, right? It's on the same area of the map. You zoom out, cut it in half, cut it in quarters, it's like very close. So, it could have the same, even though this is all blue flowers and it doesn't really look like Lindell, I'm just saying, like, compared to like the Altus Plateau, which I will address right now. Altus just means high in the language that it originates from. Altus just means high, so this just means high plateau. So it's not like a proper name. This could also be, because it's called the Scaldu, or the Shadow Altus, which means it's like the shadow high. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the same Altus Plateau as this, even though it looks very similar, right? Technically, it could still be connected. Like if Crumbling Farum Azula was here before it got destroyed, and then, I mean, there's the boss that throws tornadoes, so we know tornadoes are supposed to not only pick shit up, but move in this world. So, it's not far-fetched that this isn't where Crumbling Farum Azula started out, in like the far corner of the map, on top of, we know it's like outside of time, technically in like a bubble, right? So, but I feel like the dragons around it, it should still come into play with like how there are dragons flying around this area with this, where there's Bale. Maybe that's just a warning to players that there are dragons around, but still same side of the map. Again, hold on, let's get a grid out. You can kind of see it, right? So it's just barely outside of the grid, actually. But still. These are like one grid over compared to however big this map is. But another weird thing is the graves in the DLC. I noticed that all of the graves go down like 3 tiers, right? So you're supposed to, you go down like 3 elevators for all of the graves we've been in, at least 3 of them. I don't know if all of them, but 3 of them we found. I thought they were pretty big. The dug area, that is the battlefield, the one grave that's there, I want to go there right now, but it's only 1 floor. It doesn't go down like multiple tiers until you get to the boss. It's the single tier that it's at, as if the staircase above it was dug out and then went out just outside. In the ruins, of course, there's like ruins that are similar to Nokron. It's a whole thing. So it looks like this was dug out anyway. Like this whole area is missing, as if it were taken out, which is crazy. I had another theory, which is this map could be, hold on, here, because the top part really fits there, but then it overlays on top of the Red Mane Castle. So you know, there's a couple of things that were like, it doesn't really fit. The only thing that I've found so far that's kind of like that is, wait, here, yeah, is this, but I'll show why. So, more evidence, even if you're not convinced. These towers, right? What the fuck were they for? The divine towers that were, you know, similar to these, I think. They're supposed to be going towards a tree. And we know now that Mikola was obsessed with the Crucible original tree because he goes back to the Shadow Tree and all that, right? To like get the original sin forgiven of betrayal. So, which you know, that was like the same era back then. The Crucible Knights, the Horn Scent, all that stuff. I'm cooking. Give me a second. So, what's this? Right? What are these divine towers? Well, this final boss arena that's, you know, enshrouded in darkness is originally aimed towards the Crucible, right? As were all of these arenas from the time of Horaloo, back when he was actually like a knight and not the leader of the wasteland or whatever. So these point downward towards each other, or more inward, right, towards this cloud. And then we have this thing pointing that way. So it kind of lines up at the center, also this pointing that way, the big jar thing, which gives us the information about Horaloo's. Like, all of the knights were originally fighting with each other in these arenas, bashing the symbol of blasphemy, which is the snake, towards the Crucible. That's my idea. That's what I think is happening. So the map here, the reason there's a chunk missing, and it seems like along these edge, it's kind of like in Lindell, right up, the castle's built right up to the tree. All of this would have been built right up towards the Crucible. And then also to support this theory, this, if you go look at it, is just a giant cut off in the map that's a waterfall sheer drop off that doesn't make any logical sense if that were the ocean. That's not how the fucking ocean's made. So this is now just a body of water that's shown up and is also allowed access into this area. So this wasn't allowed before, this giant flow of water. When you just go here and look, you'll be able to tell, like, oh, that's not natural now. And this kind of fits perfectly to allow a normal flow of water to the Crucible around, right? Like kind of how Lindell has it around the Erdtree. Like right out here with the crabs in the water. It's like a moat, right? So, that's my theory. I think the DLC map is actually to the right and not overlaid. But then the problem is this part. There's the tower here that says, this is the center of the lands between, right? Maybe this was from a larger part this way, right? And then that would actually make it the center, but that's assuming something about this. I'm just saying, like, if this were locked in time and it's its own thing that came off of the land, maybe even here or here, wherever it came from, we don't know. So that's another problem. Is why does it say this is the center? Because if you have that as the center, hold on. Where is it? Okay, so it's right here, and this is the map center of the middle grid. That is the literal center. And it's like so much stuff is overlapping each other. Actually, wait a second. Yeah, there's a whole mountain built on top of that. This whole giant area does make more sense like this, though, if I'm being honest. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, because this is supposed to be, like, water level, right? Because you can kind of see off of it. Or I think actually it was this that's more water level. One of these is, like, lower to the ground, and you can see mountainside. That actually looks good, but this would put the Shadow Tree or the Halig Tree, like, just here in the middle of the mountain We just know that there's nothing here. It wouldn't actually put it here because we see the shadow tree in game and it's right like here. This is a boss room where you get to like go up to the edge and you see the edge of the tree. So it would be like right here. So only thing is like the main part of the map doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense if that's in the center. The bottom part actually looks kind of clean, and then this makes part of Altus, right? Before the Erdtree is there, but then this is built on a divine tower. It does look pretty good. Cause remember, Lindell wouldn't have been built yet. It's just that this is way higher, and this is like a flat ground. It also goes deep underground. Oh, actually it does kind of like center right here. Hold on. The center of the lands between. I'm just making sure the grid lines up almost perfectly. The only problem, see, this looks like it's perfect, but the end here, where this mountain goes flat into this giant mountain, and then there's a big ass tree right here. Like this whole area, if it were cut or just scooted down a little bit, it would be perfect. Because there's a crucible here for the giants, there's a crucible here for the shadow tree. Or just everything was moved to the left a bit, then the tree could fit here. But the boss room makes it clear that the tree is very much like right here. So, alright. We will go investigate those areas to show you, but for some reason my game glitched out. This is why I'm streaming today. I killed this guy. I've already killed Malekith. I have a spell. I'll show you. The Black Blade. I already killed this man's. Why is he here? I have so many questions. Now I'm thinking of the map thing though. You're not attacking me. Hand over death root. Yeah. You have the thing on your hand? Okay. I didn't start New Game Plus. He's got the death rune on his arm, so this is still Malekith. I have so many questions. I have so many fucking questions. Can Malek... Let's just look if it's a glitch. I still want to get back to the map thing. Okay. Then rank spawn after killing Malekith. Yeah, someone else has experienced this. Oh, yeah, I guess they could say that. You're outside of time when you kill him. So that version of him would still be loyal to America, but also still have the rune. That was intimidating. He was doing his thing. Hold on, let's turn around. You really not holding any grudges, bud? Huh. I mean, he doesn't have to die for the story. And Ronnie doesn't require you to kill him here. He requires you to go outside of time to do it. Further proving my Ronnie's a good person theory. Because she would know that Malekith has it. And probably exactly where he is. So, that's fucking strange that he's still alive, but I guess we killed him outside of time. Now I have to check this out. First this one. The base of the tree is what this is called, right? It doesn't get more obvious than that. This is where the fucking tree is. You're at the base of the tree. Alright. Oh, it's broken. As you can see, when we get to the edge. But I mean, it's pretty much right here above us. We're looking up, it's right here. We're looking down, it's right here. Right? Going below us, too, even. But I won't even say it's going like down below exactly where we are. It's just right here is where it starts. So that would place the beginning of the tree. Despite how fucking huge this thing is, on top of like this area with the giants. That's what I was trying to say. So as cool as this looks almost perfect on the left here, it's still in game. Like you see, this is where the tree would be, right? Even if it's the bigger it gets, the less sense it makes for it to be over here. So yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say before. Like it looks so good right here because I was like, yeah, it connects with Altus, but this fitting in right here almost perfectly, and being another town kind of like the one in Caelid overlooking everything, and it's just perfect. I don't know why. It looks perfect. And then also, like I said, if there was more to this area, to the right, that was like this, before this was destroyed, then that would explain why this part says it's the middle. Right? It's like down and to the right, just like add like a little bit more land, and then, and this, if the crucible's right here, this isn't like land, you know, they wouldn't really count that. So that's what I'm thinking. Also, the more I zoom out and in with the map right here, it looks way more like that's where that goes, actually. Even if you put this here, you see you get the finger thing under Farum Azula where the tornado is. Even if it's outside of time, it just doesn't look right. Because then this is just stuck in the side of the mountain here. And also this is a straight line and the castle pushes over. But if it's like this, then the castle's built on top of another ridge with the castle going all the way down to the bottom of the stone here. So there's, I feel this is the map. I'm feeling it. There's no way to say for sure. Also, I was wondering how anywhere like this with the Tree of Madness, or like the Madness area, would even be allowed to exist. I was like, what? How did this, like right under the Erdtree, or right under anyone of power? But if it's on the other side of this giant area, then yeah, it's hard for them to get there, you know? And it still could be altered, like there was land here and shit had happened. There's still like pieces missing, gaps in this story that don't make sense. So who knows? If this is even it. This is just the one that makes the most sense to me, because like right here, like I said with Caled, this is like different tiers, right? There are different layers of land. Here, let's get a red out so you can see what I'm drawing. Here. So, over here. Yeah, it shows up way better. This entire area is like different platforms, right? There's like, it's like a tiered cake with steps down and then steps down. So, here we go. Let's just erase these. Which ones are these? Okay, cool. The fact that this fits almost perfectly right here is already one thing. And like this fitting perfectly right here is weird. And this being a flat area of like something else is missing. Kind of crazy. I want to put like I want to like rotate the thing to fit right there. But they make it very distinct as to which way is north and which way is not. Also, to tell you how I got the scale properly, the only thing we have to go off of are the trees. I pretty much measured the pixel size of the trees here in this forest. And then also the ones on Altus, which are similar. And then these ones as well. And I was like, okay, they're the same size. So that's the only thing we really have to go off of. But then I didn't try to fit this to the scale here. I tried to fit the tree size to meet. Then everything else kind of fit after I did that. So because if it was drawn at the same time, whoever did the map, it was drawn on the same document by the same person at the same time, or just using the same assets, then their map scaling wouldn't be off because they would be working on the fucking project. So if you scale the trees, it should be almost 1-to-1 still map scaling. So if you scale the trees, this kind of fits, right? Like right here. But then the Dragon Mountain is just covering half of Caled, which we know has architecture and shit of its own. So it's like it can't really be covered, you know? And again, this can have anything sticking out of it or into it because it's a battlefield that was worn down. And like I said, there's like ruins sticking out of the ground here. And a catacombs inside of the boss room that's only 1 story, whereas all of the things that are higher than it here are 3 stories down. So yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, right? You got to take an elevator, take an elevator, take an elevator, and then there's this, which is just and then boss room. We'll draw a little skull. Looks like a mushroom. Make a little dude. Now, with a spear. But this one just lets you down into the boss room. I'll draw the dude with the spear. But it skips the top floors, and this is like straight dug out of the place. Okay, we could just undo, hopefully. Okay, yeah. It's making sense. It's making more sense the more I analyze it. And then, like I said, this is facing the crucible. This is like the way that the direction that they're worshiping. And the horn scent used shadow magic. Here, let's cook a bit more on the lore here. Uh-oh. Yeah. So, the Horn Scent, when we defeated him, used shadow magic, suggesting that the Horn Scent, who kidnapped everyone from the village here, were working, or not shadow magic, but like a ghost flame. That's what his whole stick was. So if he used ghost flame, and these hidden people were attacked by the... You'll see what I'm talking about. Were attacked by ghost flame worshippers. In this village. Everyone in the shaman village was kidnapped by ghost flame worshippers and then tortured and stuffed into jars. Another thing I should point out is the shamans might have been Albinorics themselves. I'm not just crazy and making that up, and I'm not just doing it to support my theory. I'll show you a bunch of evidence right now. So, where the fuck was the... There, I think it was in Bonnie Village. The Whipping Hut, Bonnie Village, Recluses downstream, Bridge leading village, Eastern Nameless Mausoleum. The Jar people. Where the hell are the Jar people? The monstrosity, not these jar, not, okay, wait a second. When you say jar people in Elden Ring, there are a shit ton of jar people. Not Alexander, but the new DLC jar people. Not these jar people. These people stuffed people into jars. Stuffed the shamans into jars. Because they were just depraved lunatics. Okay. And apparently the reason I'm glad we let's heal up a bit, huh? Thank you. They're crazy. Cute. I'm pretty sure all these shadow people are crazy. And Lito said they were never saints, they were just on the losing side of a war or whatever. So these were just like the bad guys lost. But let's explain how and what they were up to and why they might have deserved it from America's perspective, huh? So let's start cooking on the lore. These people started stuffing people into jars, kind of like Alexander, pretty much. That's what the jar people were. They were like, I think the shamans were the predecessors to the Alexander jar people. So, does this do any good? No. What about this? Nope. Sick. Holy shit. Fair communion. Okay, so it's my new favorite spell. Jesus. I was sick as hell. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't prepared for it to do that much damage to that many people in a surrounding area, and I'm not even built for it. Okay. So around here somewhere. It's the something jail. Maybe it's not around here, but you get let out into here. I just know they have something to do with it. Let's just keep going. Looks kind of like it. Color palette wise, I have too many runes. Could this be a grace? Morth ruins. Nope. We have too many graces now. I don't even know where the hell it is. Lamenters Jail, Fisher Depths. Gotta be like up here where there's a shit ton of them. Rivermouth Cave, Fog Rift Catacombs. Holy shit. We've explored so much of this world. Castle Watering Hole. Well. Goddamn. I need to find it because I said I'd show proof. But all of damn, we got so many places. Nope. Holy shit. I know this is like the forest. Abyssal Woods, Forsaken, yep. Darklight Catacombs. This is the finger stuff. I've warped there before. It's Huh. I could just look up the jar people and then where the hell they spawn. They're such a weird enemy. The thing is, they might just show me Alexander's jar people. DLC jar people, Elden Ring. Shaman. Yes. And America's Origin. In the DLC, yeah, here. This person has a picture of it on Reddit. These guys, they're ladies. These guys, they're ladies. In the DLC, a disturbing method of making living jars is revealed. Their wield culture in Shadowland. Sinners were taken to Bonnie Village, sliced into pieces, then dumped into a jar. The most messed up part is a living shaman was forced into a jar after being brutally whipped. Ghost's dialogue suggests that Bonnie Village people simply kidnapped one from Shaman Village, America's hometown. America and Shaman were treated without mercy. Then there is a Finger Ruins Dio near Shaman Village where fingers and falling star beasts are crawling in the area, suggesting that fingers landed here and met Marika. This is where Shaman Marika was seduced by the fingers to become a god. So, the shaman were a bunch of women, which is crazy. But what other women do we know that were living up north that were also blonde ladies? You guessed it. And we're going there now. Oh, I could say that all the shit that was saying is accurate. Except for the even if she was a shaman, my theory is Marika only survived because she didn't live in town. The ghost doesn't suggest that they took a shaman. The Erdtree scroll and the whip suggest that they took every shaman. Right? So, as you can see from this lady here, who I did not know respawned yesterday, and when I came back to investigate for myself, I realized, oh gosh darn, I could just show this shit on stream, can't I? Excuse me. Why, oh why, would an Albinoric woman be living here? Didn't expect armor and still no legs. Friend, but enemy? I feel that. So, an Albinoric shack? At the base of this shadow tree? Huh. Odd. So they were worshipping as well? The same thing as everyone else? Shadow? I wonder what it means. No. Didn't expect something great. Yeah, this was actually fantastic though. Like, looting this was dope. Hasn't been something in gaming like it for a while, where you beat a tough boss and then you're like, oh, hell yeah. That was the Threshold Guardian boss. And I've earned an upgrade through skill. Oh. So, this looks kind of like... First off, well done, then praise the message. This looks kind of like... I mean, the bowl I'm in. The giant's flame place that we have to sacrifice our maiden. Ah. So... let's say a young Marika, an Albinoric shaman lady, lived in this shack, just as everyone else in the shaman village, at the base of the tree. But she returns one day, passing through. I don't think the Shadow Keep would have been built at the time. I actually don't even know what era this was built, but it's kind of... if it was built, it even further proves my theory, but I think if it... you'll see what I mean. So, you're just walking, but say the keep was here. She has to do... where's the pose? Hold on. We have it. Gotta find it. The oh mother gesture, right? And look at the arms up there, outspread. The Statue of America that you do it to. However, the head is broken off. We can't be too sure. Oh, okay, well. We say she travels back to see her home's village, because this would be the village her home belonged to. There's no other village nearby. She finds it destroyed. Yo, Slime, what's up? I'm just theorizing about lore right now, so this isn't really spoilers. This is more a theory. But I'm just talking now. I think more than ever, my theories have evidence and proof that Marika is an Albinoric woman. I think the shaman in the shaman village, right? They were all Albinoric ladies, and finally beat Moog. Nice, brother. If you need to summon, I just kind of want to beat the bosses again for fun. But if you need someone to fight bosses with, I am down. There's no shame in it. But we overlapped the map for the DLC. It's funny that you mentioned it. And I think I found where it goes. Look at this. So we tried the Reddit method of just overlaying the map. I'll get rid of these dots. And I'll close the text. But the Reddit method of putting the thing here, right? But then there's a bunch of stuff that gets covered. We made it the same size based on the trees. No worries, taking a break right now. No worries. Then we tried overlapping the map based on where you start, Moog's Palace, right? This is like if we took the starting zone of the Shadow World and put it right where Mohg's place is. This is where everything is. Still overlaps most of Caelid. And then if you put it near crumbling Farum Azula, it's kind of better. I like this area because the cutoff of the Giant's Flame thing goes straight down. But then there's like this whole portion of the map here. Hold on. Underneath. Kind of doesn't fit, right? It just kind of goes up into the mountain. This area is where like the Crucible worshippers are. But then this would have to be more towards this, if anything. This is Altis, allegedly. So, we'll move that. Then we put the tower that says this is the center of the lands between in the literal center of the lands between, and it covers most of the map, but not in like a good way, unfortunately. It just puts like the shadow tree. Is there any evidence that the word could be backwards? Just a thought. That the word could be backwards. Which word? Oh, the world could be backwards. That's what I was thinking, man. Okay, so that's funny you mentioned that. Because I said I want to flip the world. Here, I could do what you're talking about. Ready? Watch. Abracadabra. And then this fits right here. With the dragon area. Right? We are Legion. Yeah. So, dragons in Caelid. Dragons with Baal. Fingers near mountains. Shadow tree here, right? Where they and the two crucibles line up, aimed at where the shadow tree would be. Crumbling Farum Azula is just kind of off near the similar architecture. Like if you invert the world, it almost fits way too perfectly. It doesn't cover Lion's Mane Castle. It like could pretty much divot right there. You could pretty much fit this anywhere right here and it'd like fit perfectly, or maybe like that, right? Boom. Look at that. Just made like a sound effect when I did that, but like that looks fucking awesome, but there's no suggestion that that's actually the case, unfortunately. I think this one, I agree, but watch this. Here, let me change your mind potentially. So, here's this one. Right? So, this is the base map. Right? We just erased all of the fallen rocks off of the landfall. Like, pieces that have been in between on the map. All of the boats and water. This is just all of the land. Even some of the root like stuff is still there. Right? Stuff that maybe would get in the way of things. But if you look at this little piece right here, right? And then you go here and you put this like that. This, the back of this keep is missing underneath it. So this part is like needs a spot under it, and it perfectly kind of aligns with how this fits. Wait for it though. There's more. There's more. If you look north and you go in game right now, there's a giant fucking waterfall right here, as if the land was just taken away. And you can really see it from Caelid or here. It doesn't really make sense. Or the isolated divine tower. But let me put that back up to show you what it looks like. It fits perfectly down the line. And then this is a castle, remember, so the land continues underneath it straight. And then lines up perfectly with the land underneath it, like a puzzle piece. And then remember, this boss room is flat, right? But it's also missing a shit ton of land here, because there's ruins sticking out. Now, this is where it gets crazy. We're going to go right here in-game right now, right? So all of these catacombs in these... This isn't spoilers, by the way, which is beautiful. All of the catacombs you'll find in the DLC are, like, triple layers. There's 3 elevators in all of them, which means they're all fucking huge, but that was how they were intentionally built, because all of them are like that. Let's go to this catacombs here, in the boss room of Radahn, shall we? You'll notice, not only is there enough land above it to be the 3 stories you need, not only is there the same architecture as the Shadowlands, just ripped the fuck out, kind of matching the part of the map I showed that it lines up with, but this is one of the only, or not one of the only, but this is another base game one that is only 1 story, where you walk straight to the boss room and there are no elevators taking you down. So it's as if the first 2 stories of this dungeon were removed. Here's the boss room. This is where the Golden Gate is. So in the DLC, normally there's 3 stories above this. But in the base game, in the area where I think like land was removed, strangely enough, there's a shortened version of the dungeons. But it's like it happened backwards. It was we got the shortened version before we got all of the long versions, which is kind of cool. On top of that castle looking way newer than all the architecture here, this is clearly ripped up land. Like this beach looks like the sand is now, this doesn't look like a natural beach, right? Like the water is now just getting wet. There's stone, there's a fall off here. This isn't a beach. This is a fucking hole with some stone and some sand. Further proving what I think. There was just a cliff, exactly. It's just a fucking cliff. Just like the watery cliff here, way at the bottom. So it's like there are certain areas where there are cliff faces, and then there's certain areas where there are beaches. And we know that because we ran along a beach in the DLC. We see what a natural beach looks like in the lands between. They have them. This is in this trailer, this area, so it's not spoilers. But oh, it's nighttime. But right there's a beach with the long casts of sand. You got the stones cutting off. There could be an area. Could there be more areas taken away? That's what I thought. So here's another theory, right? Here's what I was thinking. We are Legion. If Crumbling Farum Azula was part of a larger piece removed, well, then in the middle, well, this area would be the middle, not this area where the tree is. So if there was stuff removed to the right of the dragons, then this pillar here that says this is the center of the lands between, here we can go there now. Yeah. The suppressing pillar, it says this is the center of the lands between. If there were more lands taken, which America clearly got rid of 1, who's to say she wouldn't get rid of more, at the cost of their trees, right? So say there was more land to the right here, well then that would be the center, easily, as long as there was more stuff here. And then, like I said, it suggested that Farum Azula is probably ripped from this spot, because it fits like perfectly here. And also there are dragons flying around it in the map. This is the only area of the map where there are dragons flying around at all. So this alone suggests that there is more land taken away, because this doesn't fit in either spot. There's no clear spot, because I know it looks like the bottom right here, but this is just a dragon's nest. We go here, and there's no like city ruins or anything built in of the beastmen. So Farum Azula doesn't actually come from there, which was my theory. I thought originally when I unlocked a part of the map but hadn't gone there, I was like, that's probably where Farum Azula is from, right? There's dragons flying around and all this stuff. But now that I look at it, I'm like, well, maybe it's just showing you that that's where Bale is, because there are a lot of dragons here as you go there. So it's just kind of a warning of, hey, there are dragons. But it also could be that it's tied here, and that this is where Farum Azula actually crumbled from. These are just theories, though. That's the thing, is it's not even spoilers. It's like, who knows where the fuck this is? It also fits right above, right? Like, it's the exact same size. So if you take this whole ass cyclone and move it over here, right? The city kind of fits. It also fits in here, like where this cloud is. Like it could be anywhere. That's the problem with it. So it's like, who even knows where that's from? But the architecture is definitely the Beastmen's, right? So lore talks. The Beastmen inhabited that, and the Beastmen inhabit this. The Horn Scent inhabit that. But they love here. I forgot to mention, this is another, I've mentioned this way earlier, but when they're praying to the Crucible, they're kind of aimed this way, right? Everyone's kind of aimed this way, praying to the Crucible. And she set out, you find one of the knights, a Crucible knight here, that was looking for the origin of the Crucible. So someone looking for the origin of the Crucible wound up right there, right? So I think this was the Crucible, this big empty area, because the knights that fought in the like gladiator pit were fighting for it, right? And it was and they're all kind of aimed towards this area. The thing is, this one's not really aimed towards the Erdtree. It's more aimed towards the center, and it looks like a part of it again is removed off of the land here. So it's like there's so much land that's just gone in this area. However, if it were a bunch of trees mixed together, like a shit ton of Erdtrees before they split, then the Shadow Tree could be like, actually the Shadow Tree would be around where Crumbling Farum Azula is, which I don't even know what the story implications of that would be. Right? There's so many questions. Oh, also Malekith is right here with the Rune of Dust and Death. So the Death Tree is right here, as is Malekith. But an important thing to notice about Crumbling Farum Azula, I was told, and I didn't even discover this myself. Let's see if we could see it from here. Apparently there's the, like, Godwin's death root, like, even here in places. You can, like, see his eye popping out and shit. Who's this? Just item, NPC? So this place had to have been broken off after Godwin died. If that's true. I want to see it myself. But then that kind of changes the history of this place for me. It didn't get sent in time long ago, it got sent in time recently. And it is only now crumbling. Okay, well. Yumped off a cliff. Okay. Let's see if we can find any traces of Deathroot with Godwin's eyes or whatever. If it's true, well, This place is different than we thought. That's not Godwin. That's not Godwin. Yeet. I was just gonna read those messages, saw the arrows fly by, and I said, never mind. Okay, well, thank you, sir. Truly. Oh, I guess. They are ones who live in death. Yeah, I guess they're undead beastmen. Even if you don't see the root with an eye on it. This motherfucker. Okay. The shield just went down. This, as soon as I press that anti-hit. But I think it's Vati videos who I just watched talking about that. Which is crazy, if it's true. He's the lore master. I'm like double checking, but that means it's probably true. Did I just ignore his ass? There's definitely roots hanging out through the place. Rolled up the whole set of stairs. Yeah, actually. There's a lot of gold here. Which, again, goes against the whole, like, beginning of unalloyed gold. Is it... Unless... I see a shit ton of items. Just don't mind me killing your friend here. Having a good old-fashioned bout. Honorable duel. I'm actually scouting for Death Root, if you've seen it. I feel like Malekith. Oh, and I mean Malekith found his way here, right? So... There's the dragon. I see roots, but I don't see death roots. It's a very particular kind of root. What the fuck is this? See what I mean? Like roots hanging through the place. Right above me. But... We're circling back around, dead end ahead. This guy trying to jump out the wall. I am so confused. There's got to be death root around here somewhere, right? There's a bunch of undead. There's roots. Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around. Banished Knight's Greatsword. So they were banished. Probably because they partook in Dragon Communion. right? Okay. Well. God damn, that got hit hard. Okay. Do it. I did it. Now what? Behold, Tarnish. By the way, good luck. See the item I was hunting for. You don't mind if I grab that, do you? I'm looking for death root, god damn it. I have a feeling it's gonna be higher up if we oh, and there's more. How do you get that item? Just fall? Probably go through. That's pretty cool. I mean, to be honest, it was cool, but damn. Could this be a corpse lover? Flyer ahead, yeah. No horse. Gotta be like upstairs, but place is crazy. Ah, more stuff. Maybe we'll find it back here. Yeet. Oh shit, I did like no damage to him. Alright. Just making sure. That looks cool over there. I don't remember it, so probably haven't been there. Cool. This place, if it really does have death root. Oh, cool. Oh, never mind. I mean, these guys have to be death root, but who knows if it's Godwin's death root? That's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm like, I have to see Godwin's eye or something myself, just to make sure. Shortcut? Well, I see something over there I haven't, like, been to yet. Oh, wow. The hell's that? Oh, fuck. Just commit. It didn't even drop down? Okay. I cursed myself. No, I don't have to go through that again. That's fine. I'll run it, but the problem is the big guy. If he jumps in, is chasing me. Kind of screwed. All right. Whoa, the map almost killed me. I don't see like any rot. But I am noticing that the trees are red. Neat. All right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Over there, I see like a huge root. If it's not over there, then I just think it's the trees. I think it's just roots from the trees. I don't think it's actually death root. We're here finding items and lore. I feel like that's something I could look up. Like someone's probably asked that question with a picture, right? Godwin. Deathroot. Crumbling. Missoula. Okay, it actually... Notice this weird root. Realize it has eyes. Holy shit. If so, what is it doing in Crumbling Missoula? Okay. So... Yeah. People thought it was like from that spot. Not growing on it. Yeah, I've noticed, but where is that? Where do people keep finding this shit? It looks like it's in the tower over there. No, this is Malekith's place. Dad, is this real? Nah, genuinely. Well, we're about to find out, because I'm about to scour the fuck out of this place until we find it. Also, yeah, there's more evidence that I killed Malekith. I'm in his fucking boss room. So, that's why I'm like, how is, what's his name still there? Look, I'm in Malekith's boss room, so I killed him. And then... the rank is just hanging out. Hyperfixate activated. Exactly. But this is why I started the stream today. I was like, well, that's confusing. You're dead, I killed you. But I killed you outside of time. I wonder if that matters. Let us find the death root. Got me looking up against the fucking ceilings. I'm like, it's gotta be here somewhere. So I should probably level. Whoa, those are dragons. I was like, those look like flesh. Those are the necks of dragons with heads on them. Can you get up there? Yeah? Maybe? I have so many questions about this place, man. First will level. We're walking around with like final boss level runes, so we should spend them. We'll go strength. If we go backwards through the level, it should be easier. Should be. And easier. Not should be easy. Or will be easy. But should be easier. Oh, this looks like it. This looks kind of like the windows that they were doing. Is it like downstairs from here? Okay, so this guy isn't undead? Oh, yeah, they are. Iframes? They're just a different kind of undead? Ow. Ow. So who are they praying to for red lightning? There are dragons, so probably Baal. Interesting. So the beastmen don't like the dragons. Is that what I'm being told? Goodbye, Beastman. Whoa, okay. Yeah, there's like a lower area. Oh, I wanted that, whatever it was. So, beastmen just hanging out, not doing anything. If these guys aren't undead, I feel bad for. I think everything in the lands between is pretty much undead, right? Because the rune of dust and death is broken. So that's why they look all ratty. We haven't seen a thing in relation to death rune. Pictures, speculation. Do we go this way? Kind of like a spot they want you to rush through. Maybe in that tower? I don't know if you can go in this one to my right here. Maybe from above, but... Oh, he wouldn't jump for a sec. Damn, so close. Stormhawk feather. Is this where Horaloo is from? Try down, but try visions of death. The hell? Oh. Okay, we've done this, but that was a crazy ass route. Is there Godwin anywhere in here? Hello? Nope. This looks almost exactly like the building that they were in. Oh. There's a drop off. Hold on. Yeah. Alright, let's kill this thing. I'm on the hunt for lore, sir. Could it be that other tower? Oh. I think I see it over there. I want to get to it though, but I see it. Is it Grace? Yep. Okay, so before we jump down here, gotta go back a Grace. We have found it. Now just to find our way to it. It's backwards? Go up or down? Think this is what we need? Oh, damn. So these people also, the Beastmen stuff people into pots, right? Maybe that's where they... Ow. Fuck. Oh damn, it's like a ways away. I see the path, but damn. Items. Loot? Give me the loot, give me the loot. I don't need the money. Be wary of left. Lightning grease. Cool. Fuck. I think that was the way we would have fallen and gone, but... We missed. Oh my god. Dragon Crest Shield Talisman 2 and some runes. That's nice. Oh, thank you. Items. What the fuck? What the dog doing here? Visions of strong foe. Is it the knight? We're almost to the point, but I think I might have taken a different route. We jumped and got the loot though. We don't need this path. There's a secret here? Nope. Oh. Someone in your group defeated a shard bearer? Was that you? You ever be switching to mobile? Did you just beat a shard bearer? Who the fuck is in my group beating shard bearers right now? Super Kamioken on? Yeah. I'm like, who's gaming right now? Okay. I think we press forward and then go up. There. Then go right. We're so close. Do we drop down to it or? How the fuck? Alright. I know we were already at this grace, but let's see how we get there. Shortcut? If this tells me the door is locked from this side, then we know there's a whole route we haven't taken. Rewind? Would have been sick. What's up, bird? Poor bird. Okay, so it is above me by like a tier. I don't think we do a jump to it. Back. Welcome back. We are going to be running from these birds. Oh shit. Alright. Okay, well. I found the spot. It's in that tower. But I don't know where the shortcut is. Looks like it's this way. And you go over from the top. My headphones are dying. Oh. It looks like that tower, but it's actually not that tower. It's this tower. Down there. So. Nascent butterfly. Oh, I was gonna say it's almost like Mikola was here. But Mikola was here at some point. Or Mikola's influence was here. I think I see the route, and I almost can't believe it, how far back it is. But I need to see the proof with my own eyes. Mine own eyes. Fuck, how we get so low? Maybe we're not where I think I am? Oh yeah, we're good. Down there is where we need to get. Ah! We didn't even need to go that far. Oh, you know what I'm noticing about this death route eye? You might think I'm crazy. It looks more like a dragon eye than it does Godwin's. It's got like serpent brow, like a dragon scale. Let's keep looking though. That one's kind of the same. Jump attack. How are you gonna put some dead ones? Could there have been a Deathblight dragon before Godwin? I was right. This is the Godwin spot that they were talking about. Holy shit. Sucks to be you guys, because I can run. I saw what I needed to. I'll just jump down. Probably gonna die. Yeah, too far. Well. I actually didn't need the souls. I needed the lore. And we got it. The crumbling Farum Azula crumbled after Godwin died. However, the Shadowlands seem to have developed alongside the Shattered World. So, Farum Azula did not come from the part of the map that was the Shadowlands, the Realm of Shadow. I can almost definitively say it because Godwin's there. Godwin's whole thing happened afterwards. And the only person to travel there possibly is Mikola because of the nascent butterfly. It's like the way to get there is so fucking obscure. I think only a demigod. Like, genuinely, I think only a demigod can actually go and attack or get there, do all the shit that they need to do in order to get to crumbling Farum Azula. So it just leaves another question of where the hell does it come from? You listen to King Gizzard, you talk about Elden lore like I talk about the lore in the albums. No, I have not. I've referenced it a lot. I think the name is awesome. I've only heard the things that like people have sent. The Elden Ring, it doesn't make sense. No, I'm trying to make sense of it, right? This area of the map is a mystery. It exists outside of time, but I genuinely don't know where it could have come from. Maybe here? Trying to think of like, where did the beast men like congregate? If you like lore, Murder of the Universe is good. That and Petro Draconic. Alright. I'll check it. I'll peep it. I keep like, this is so blending so well together that I'm like, where does the map end and the other map begin? The thing is, the water line for this I didn't erase, but this is a sheer drop. There's no like cliffside. There's no mountainous region on this whole waterfront up to this. And then right here is where it breaks off as well for Caelid. Well, the thing's in the way, but right here. I feel like I'm finding it. I feel like we're close. We could talk about how a robot destroyed the universe because it wanted to die. Wow. That shit is crazy. That kind of goes with like the whole Elden Ring lore, right? That's why I like it. It has like those dark tones like that. Like all of the From Software games have like the same. Not all of the From Software games. All of the Souls games have the same theming of like nobility mixed with magic, and then the people who run the society in game, right, or in the lore, are typically like they want to be viewed as gods and they'll do anything to keep that status quo. For Dark Souls, it's Gwyn. He wants to keep his Age of Fire alive, as does his lineage. So Gwendolyn and Guinevere are trying their hardest in different ways. Gwendolyn is like lying to everyone and putting up a fake son, and Marika would be the Gwyn in this world, obviously. Miquella being the Gwendolyn, wanting to keep the Golden Order's ideals, kind of, while saying the Order itself, like, this is why I think Miquella is the bad person. This isn't really spoilers. This is just more of like an opinion thing. Miquella, actually, I'm trying to think of it how to get around the spoiler talk, because I don't need to mention the final boss stuff to talk about Miquella, like the journey so far. So But yeah, okay, now I got it. Miquella was loyal to Radagon and made all of those spells because he was a fundamentalist, right? That was like the whole thing with the spells that they made. And then when Miquella found out that the Golden Order and the Greater Will couldn't cure millennia of rot, which seems like a noble cause already, I give him a point there. But he then uses millennia to attack Radon in like the trailers, right? That's like the Elden Ring trailer. Again, we're not talking about spoilers. However, he's taken by Moog during that whole ordeal, and Millennia almost dies. Radon almost dies, or pretty much is in a state worse than death because of the Scarlet Rot. So that was already selfish as fuck and evil, in my opinion. But wanting to keep people immortal, right? And all of the people in the lands between are the ones that he wants peace between. It's like why I talk about Ronnie's ending being the good ending. Ronnie represents like the age of stars, but everyone says like they're a manipulator, and I feel that everyone just misunderstands Ronnie's ending entirely. The whole point of her thing is accepting death, right? Like letting things die, and deaths before humans were around, and deaths like stars died before humans, and stars will continue to die after humans. You know, that's the kind of thing. Like the lifespan of mortals is actually not that long, so the mortality of it all is what she wants to restore, the natural order. Like even the universe will die eventually. So her whole thing is actually restoring the natural order to the universe and allowing death to take hold, even if it means the universe dies in its shadow and darkness and sadness because you mourn the loss of those who've died and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, death is a natural part of the cycle, and you should mourn. There should be sadness, is like her whole thing. So hers is more about acceptance, where Miquella is trying to keep everyone immortal and be forgiven in the eyes of everyone that's already still alive, right? He's trying to unify the lands between, even if it means abandoning the Golden Order, and tries to cure everyone of their outer gods, but even if it means, like, they are trying to become a god or whatever, like, it's pretty crazy. The whole fucking Miquella's story, like through this thing, because like it's the whole like do the means justify the ends thing. Like they kind of turned them into the Gwyn, like a new Gwyn is forming, right? Is kind of what we were trying to stop. Is like Miquella wants to do all of this good, but is really just trying to keep the flame alive. Is what is like the Dark Souls equivalent, right? Like they're trying to keep they're trying to keep gods around. They're trying to keep the old order's followers around, just now following him. So it's like his goals like seem good because he says it's like he wants nice stuff to happen, right? Like a guidance of peace or whatever, but like during the boss fight, they say some crazy stuff. However, it's like the do the ends justify the means. Like Gwyn wants to keep things alive and the light to be burning because the fear of darkness in humanity and the shadows taking over, right? The same kind of Ronnie ending happening, like just the shadows taking over the world and Manus, and like the darkness in humanity. It's like that's what Gwyn was trying to prevent, even if it meant he turns into a husk himself, kind of how Marika turns into a husk, literally, and trying to keep the flame kindled, where Marika's trying to keep the golden light of the, like the Elden Ring itself, like together. trying to like, or not her, Radagon's doing that, but that it's still like Radagon and Marika combined make up the Gwyn of this world. So it's like the roles are pretty set, but they're kind of, it has the influence of George R.R. Martin very clearly, because there's a lot of weird incest shit, which is like, you could none of that existed at all in Dark Souls until this game, so it's very obvious where his writing style comes in. But the Souls lore is still, like, the Miyazaki's game design and lore is still in effect because it's his game that he's making. He just had the world established by George R.R. Martin, right? He just has put little, he just has to put his little touches. It's, the best way to describe it is, like, there's the world of Middle-earth, right? There's all of the stories in the Silmarillion about, like, Morgoth and all of that shit, right? That establishes Lord of the Rings world. But then the story in The Hobbit, right? The story of Bilbo Baggins is like a singular story within this larger world narrative. How you should view it is, George R.R. Martin wrote the Silmarillion for this world, right? The like prequel story, and then the game designer Miyazaki wrote your Bilbo story that you are playing through the games, right? Like, the story you as a player go through is the same as every other Souls series. You are a normal, everyday hero. You're self-insert. You could be nobody. You could be the god-slaying mastermind, right? You could, it doesn't really matter who your character is originally, but now their story is they're starting from the bottom, as, like, in Dark Souls, an undead asylum prisoner, or here, a tarnished, like, in the graves, which is essentially their way of imprisoning you, in an immortal world. It's like if you wind up in a grave, it's pretty fucked up, because no one can die. So it's like, you put it perfect. Yeah, thank you. Miyazaki, he tells your story through the gameplay and all of the bosses and who you interact with, right? Because that kind of is echoed, like I was saying, with like Gwendolyn being Mikola and Gwyn being Marika. There are story elements from Miyazaki's stories that are echoed in these games. So it's not just George R.R. Martin's writing style. It's like us approaching this boss room and the boss that's in it. That was Miyazaki's choice, not George R.R. Martin's. So the reason we're fighting this guy and the whole culmination of our story to fight him on Ronnie's behalf and all that stuff, and the different endings, that would be Miyazaki. But the world setting, like why that statue's in the back and why that Elden Ring on the wall is different from the one the Golden Order worships, that I just finished setting up for New Game Plus. Fuck yeah. I kind of want to do the same. But anyway, like the reasons for those things were George R.R. Martin, not Miyazaki. Like we know that now, but then I also want to state that Miyazaki approached George R.R. Martin to write a sequel to the Souls series. So he went back and probably, at the start at the very least, showed George R.R. Martin the truth of the Souls series, which is crazy to think about, so that he knew the story premise to write a sequel. So George R.R. Martin's probably one of the only people on the planet that has seen Miyazaki's like lore journal for the Dark Souls world. So even George R.R. Martin's stories in this world are now influenced by Dark Souls, because he originally was approached to write a sequel to the Dark Souls series. So even if Miyazaki changed that over time and these aren't as related, A lot of the lore is like that same kind of, it needs to rhyme, right? It needs to have rhyme and reason to why it's happening in the game world, but also in the lore story in relation to how Dark Souls played out, in relation to how Demon Souls played out, and in relation to how Bloodborne and even Sekiro played out potentially. I never played Sekiro, so who knows if it's connected. But I feel in my heart of hearts, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne and Elden Ring are all not in a universe together, but in like a multiverse parallel all together. I've played the thing before, but I'll play it again. Just to, here, we'll get him. I'll probably go through tomorrow streaming it. Shit to do. I wanna do New Game Plus as well, but I'm hesitant to start without the legendary. Spelled that wrong, but it's okay. Okay. So, here we go. I've showed this countless times on stream. Ready? My search history. No, Jesus Christ, Boogie. What the fuck kind of picture is that? YouTube. What the hell? Oh, also, weirdly enough, they removed the Kendrick live stream from YouTube. I was like watching it, and like midway through, it was like, this video is unavailable. And then when I tried refreshing and looking for it, all of them were taken down off YouTube. So I was like, oh my god, Ken and Friends. It was taken down. That's why all my shit is like a Kendrick Lamar search history. Because I was kind of like, okay, well, now I gotta listen to the songs and see the comparison between the live show. Anyway. Sounds like a hunt. It does. Anyway. George R.R. Martin Elden Ring interview. Here we go.
I know that you've recently been a part of developing a video game. And it seems to me like it's sort of a natural fit for a fantasy fiction writer to work on a video game. How is that, different from what we know you for working on?
Well, it actually is considerably different. I've played some video games. I'm not a big video gamer. But the game is called The Elden Ring, and it's a sequel to a video game that came out a few years ago called Dark Souls.
So that alone, him saying it's a sequel, like, well, shit.
And it came out of Japan. My work on it was actually done years ago. These games, they're like movies. They take a long time to develop.
So that, I mean, they just end up asking him about Game of Thrones. That's why like it falls off halfway through the video, because the last half is just a Game of Thrones question. But he does.
Basically, they wanted a world created to set the game in. They wanted world building as a big factor in fantasy and science fiction. You're not only talking about the characters and the plot, but the setting is almost as important as everything else. Tolkien's Middle-earth, Robert E. Howard's Hyborian Age, the Foundation universe of Isaac Asimov. I worked up fairly detailed background for them. And then they took it from there. So, it's been several years since I've last seen them, but they would come in periodically and show me some monsters they designed or the latest special effects or the cool things. But the game has been very slowly developing, and now it's coming out in January, I believe. So I'll be as excited as anybody else to see it.
So
then she just asked about Game of Thrones. Like he couldn't name it Middle Earth, so he called it The Lands Between. Yeah, that is funny. It's a Middle Earth reference. So that's kind of when I mentioned Middle Earth and the Silmarillion and all that stuff. He literally takes inspiration from that as well. I love it, but as much as I don't really care for certain aspects of George R.R. Martin's writing, it's like, I can at least say that we're both fans of the same shit. He likes Lord of the Rings. He just thinks it should be darker, when I think it's just right as its lighthearted self, because then it could do the shit like Morgoth and the tragedies of the elves and shit. Because then it's like, oh my god, I thought this world was lighthearted. What the fuck? But, yeah. So, he says it was written, essentially, as a sequel. even if Miyazaki designing the story afterwards didn't intend for it to be connected, which is a whole different argument. I think they are intended to be connected because of cut content from Bloodborne and content in Dark Souls 1 DLC, and you know, everyone else is, they're all connected conspiracy theories. But that George R. R. Martin interview, like I watched it before I started playing Elden Ring and was like, okay, so this is supposed to be a like pseudo sequel to Dark Souls, but then as I like heard the story and how things function, I was like, this might as well just take place in the Souls series, except they wiped the world clean and then they started anew with different undead, right? Where in Gwyn's age, humans were cursed by the dark sign. Like, Gwyn put the dark sign on humanity because he feared the darkness getting out of their souls and all that shit, right? Like, Gwyn was, I think, a pygmy that found the Lord's soul, right? They don't really tell you what the people were before they find the Lord's souls. They just say that they found them and then they transcended. So we know that Gwyn and Nito and all of those like gods in Dark Souls were just like a pile of souls left in the darkness that someone was able to just collect, and then it imbued them with strength. Kind of how you imagine like imagine they just had outer gods lying around. Because Miyazaki didn't really know too much about world building, you know? That's why he hired George R. R. Martin. It's like that's the Soul series. They just had outer gods lying around in the void at the start of the story, and then like Gwyn and all these people walked around, picked them up, and then fought back the dragons and the darkness, and then they tried to perpetuate the age of light, or fire specifically, Gwyn's age of fire. They're trying to keep that going forever. But this, America's whole thing is trying to keep like death from ever happening again, I think. I don't know exactly when immortality would have taken place, because they have a bunch of grave sites throughout, and some people can die true deaths now that the Black Blade assassins, but sometime between Godwin's death, obviously, because it was a big deal that he died, and when America took power, there's like pretty much death can't happen anymore. It was such a big thing that Ronnie had to like plan to steal the rune of dust and death in order to make sure someone could die, right? Godwin. But if Ronnie had to go through that like extensive of a method to steal the like thing that lets people die, it was clearly hidden away, and people couldn't die for a long time. I don't know how long. That's the problem. Because I think it was like, I'm gonna try and write out a timeline, but here, we'll go to the Shadow World. Yeah. To the Shadow Tree. Before the Shadow Keep was constructed, I think, back when there were just shamans and people living in huts, and there was the horn scent worshipping the Crucible, I think underground, right, there were, and this is really, really close to where I'm talking, so it might actually be the case, I think the giant underground corpse that's in Nokron, in the Siofra city, or Siofra River, like, city, I think that is the statue the shamans are praying to. Right? I know this is all craziness, but it's all gonna come together. If the shaman were Newman creations that escaped from the depths below, right? They were Albinorics, and they were living up on the surface, praying to the skies, like, oh my god, we can finally see the stars, because, you know, that's what the whole banished people down below, the other Newmans, whole thing were, right? They were banished. They wanted to see the stars so bad they created a fake night sky. So, why couldn't they live up top? Well, we see why they couldn't live up top. The shaman village gets ransacked by the horn scent. This is all more implied with the lore stuff, right? So, where is it? Bonnie Village. They get taken here, and they get stuffed into jars, which is fucking wicked. That's terrible. But they get stuffed into jars, and then one survivor who lives in a hut nearby, the Albinoric shack, goes here to the shaman village of the escapees, who would technically be Newman, because they were Newman creations, right? Wait. Up here. I am like 12 stories below where I wanted to be. So we've been here already. America's an Albinor. No, I'm just kidding. There's no confirmation of that. But let's say she journeys down. She's on her wolf now. Actually, it would be fitting that she rides a wolf, because the fates or whatever gave her, quote unquote, that other, the greater will, supposedly, and the fingers, which are also nearby. It would make sense why she worships the fingers so much. They gave her the wolf companion, Malekith or whatever. So, rides on up, notices the place is ransacked by the horn scent. And then, she goes on up here to the Grand Mother, is what it's called. Open-armed statues, where she would need to do this pose. Rewind back to the start of the stream. If the Shadow Keep was there, she would have to know this pose to get here. So it's not too presumptuous. It's even more so a connection to be like, she would be the one making the wish at this statue, and the only way she would know how to say the prayer is because she says that prayer all the time to get in. Oh, Mother. Right? So it's strangely not only the way that you get in to this area, but somehow connects this shack with this spot. Now that's weird. But if it is if it was Marika's shack, then it would make sense that she would come here to pray, and leave like a braid of her hair and make a wish right before she leaves. Here, we'll put it on and read the thing. What was her prayer, her wish, her confession? There is no one left to answer, and Marika never returned home again. A braid of golden hair cut loose, Queen Marika's offering to the Grand Mother. So, she left an offering, and then she left and never returned. So let's say she left the offering. She places the Erdtree, the minor Erdtree illusion, down. She might even thank the fingers before she leaves, because that is one of the clearly the shaman if they were Newman survivors, right? And or Albinorics from underground, they'd be worshiping the stars. They'd be happy to see these guys, right? This wouldn't be a problem for them. They wouldn't have freaked out or moved based on the finger invasion. They would have let it creep. They would have done whatever. They would have been like, whatever, fuck it. However, we know that this place is cleared out because of them and not the fingers. So, all comes back to America being an Albinoric. Her blonde hair was the reason she got her golden grace, because that was her offering. Also, a lot of the statues, I think, or another thing is she's kneeling and sitting, right? Which is like a whole Albinoric thing. They don't have like working legs too well. So, if this were a site where Albinorics prayed, they would probably fashion it after whoever they worship and or themselves. So this is an Albinoric woman. She's not standing, is how we can tell. And you're probably like, how is that the giveaway? Well, every other fucking statue in the game is standing. They could have just used one that was standing. They didn't have to use a unique model for this spot. Also, why would they place it so close to an Albinoric shack? When everything else, like there's no Albinoric area anywhere else. Fingerweaver's hovel, maybe there. But then that kind of goes with the theory of the map we drew up. Because if that is Albinoric, it explains why, like how the Albinorics have spread out across the map, right? We know there's some under here in Liurnia. We know they made it all the way to the Erdtree, and there are some under Moog's area, so there's some here in the base game. If it's here, or here, then that's the trifecta. You know? We got top of the map, furthest left, and then pretty much the furthest right, actually. Okay. I didn't draw a straight line. And we know that they show up in places in between these areas, but they're literally on every corner of the map. Because this would have to cycle back around. There's so much. There's so much. That they would have had to make this journey, which it explains why some of them stopped halfway, and they were like, there's no fucking way we're going to make this journey. Even though they were actually closer than they thought, because there was a secret passage here. But I don't think there were any Albinorics in this, so they didn't know of this secret passage. They really do be looking like the shaman were people who ran, maybe even through here, the ruins of Unt. Or Ante. Castle Watering Hole. There's so much to this world. God damn. And then also, the shadow tree, like the base of the shadow tree where everyone worships, is like where America lives. It would make sense, as they would view it as the ultimate betrayal, because she would pray to the shadow tree for power, not the Erdtree. She left a minor Erdtree illusion, so she prays for power here from their shared tree. And then using the power that she, pretty much they were all given, she fucks everyone up. the Glomite Queen, everyone that, you know, would be a god for her time. And then establishes the Golden Order, erasing history and removing mounds and mounds of dirt. Now, I don't know if they did that, but erasing history for sure. We know that's for, like, certain, already confirmed. So if they're, you know, already removing one entire land by veiling it in shadows, who's to say there aren't more trees veiled in the distance? And then maybe that is the truth. Maybe it's like Dark Souls, and there's going to be multiple DLCs, and then by the end of it, this is the center of the entire map. That would be the craziest reveal, is that they were like, oh, actually, we had like planned like 2 or 3 DLCs. Like how they did the Sunken King and all that stuff, like different DLCs in different areas. They just slowly unveil different parts of the map. Next, they do the center and the Crucible, right? Or we go back in time. This is already time magic in Farum Azula. They have this entire area to the southeast or southwest. How many DLCs were on Dark Souls? I think Dark Souls 2 has the most, if I remember correctly. Dark Souls 2, and then you go not the Scholar of the First Sins edition. There's Sunken King, Old Iron King, and then Ivory King. So there was 3 DLCs for this one. So that's what I mean. Like, they could have planned it like this, where they were like, why don't we slow... And then it was... The base game were missing chunks of story. And then by the end of the final DLC, you had all of the story for this, like, game. Which was dope. Dark Souls 3, I think only had like 1 or 2. No, Ashes of Ariandel and then the Ringed City. And I think they planned a 3rd one. But the Ringed City was just too, like, they ended up combining. Yeah. Ashes of Ariandel. Yeah. But that kind of goes to show what I'm talking about. Like, if this was their biggest game already, they made so much fucking money. Dang, YouTube lag? Yeah, no worries. If they made that much money off of this one, and 3 was a huge success with 2 DLCs, and then they had Bloodborne and Sekiro, I could see them... If this is the only DLC, like the first game, I accept that just because it's so big. But story-wise, if they end up going... I feel like we've tackled a lot of stuff in the DLC, though. I don't want to, like, spoil anything, but I feel like we did it. Like, the only character whose story we really didn't talk about was Godwin's, but it's because like, you hear about him so much, and then we don't face him. It's strange to face literally everyone else and not Godwin. And then the only aspect of Godwin we face is a... Ooh. Oh, I'm stuck. The only thing we face of Godwin is a memory. I'm gonna get off of this just because it stopped me from moving or stopped me from jumping for a sec. I messed up. I crafted the bombs. Now I just gotta put them in my inventory. I think I'm gonna die. Whoa. I was like in the air. And then Thorn took the shot for me. We might get lore off of this guy when we kill him. I can't run. Yikes. I don't know why I wasn't running. I held it down, I looked up, saw I had half my sprint bar, and I was like, well, my character decided not to run. Oh, oh. It looked like I got clipped by the fire as I landed. That's sad. I think I jumped too early on the first one. We're fine though. We have the technology. We could unequip this rune because we've already beat the boss. Also, if you're in the DLC now, Orange, I am fucking down to kill some stuff. I think this one ignites. No! Well. I'm cleaning right now. No worries. Okay. Torn didn't want to double jump there. Maybe I landed on the rock. Then it should have just jumped a second. Then it should have just jumped again. Okay. Okay, I got stomped on. Damn it. I jumped into the explosion. He's using all of his hard moves. Fuck. Ow. I think I landed too close to the leg. Well. The bombs I have do a ridiculous amount of damage. The problem is I need to throw it in his goddamn dome. He won't fucking fall over. There we go. Yes. Here we go. What the fuck? Is it not doing damage to him? It didn't do damage, did it? Oh my fucking god, this game sometimes. There we go. Of course it didn't do damage to it, because why would anything work? We've already killed one of these, so I know how it's supposed to work. And it was simply that easy before. So that's unfortunate, but one more stagger and we should be good. Falling over or no? Oh, well. That actually really sucks because those giant pots that we used, you don't get more of them. Or well, you get more of them, but like it's not infinite like the small ones. So you don't. If you use it, you don't just get another one back. You have to go find them. Now I have to go find where the hell to find those big pots. It'd be like that sometimes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Torrent. Is it a limited amount of respec tiers? Yeah, I think there's only 13 or something per playthrough. Come on, come on, come on, come on, Torrent, get the fuck off! What the hell are you doing? There we go. And now we run. Never mind. Oil-soaked tier, Infernal Vistage. Okay. Are the big pots the same? That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. They added more larval tiers to this, like to the DLC. You can find them. However, item crafting. Let me just double check. Yeah. Oh, they lied. I don't know what the fuck my friend was smoking when he said that. But Kami told me that you can only get, like, they're not reusable. But I know I didn't pick 4 up just now. I only had 4 before. So I guess the big ones are reusable. Period. We were deceived. We were all of them deceived. Whoa! That looked painful. Blood-sucking cracked tear. Alright, so I thought you could revive that thing as a joke before, and apparently you fucking can revive that thing. What does it do? A crystal tear forms slowly over ages where the scattered sap and of the Erdtree pools deep within the furnace golems. Can be mixed in the flask of wondrous physic to the resulting concoction temporarily increases attack power but drains HP over time. What the fuck? That's actually really cool. A crystal tear forms slowly over the ages. Yeah. Can be mixed in the flask of wondrous physic. The resulting concoction temporarily causes the imbiber to break out in an oily sweat, soaking nearby enemies in oil. So that with the fire rune, or like that with fire is fucking busted. So you see, this is what I mean. Like I walked up to that thing before and I was like, you could totally, like, in my game design brain, I know you can fucking summon this thing. Like there's no, what the hell is that? Raise the stone sheath sword to the light. Sword of light. Okay. We've got the sword of light. So there's another one hidden around somewhere. We were told about that, but we didn't actually know where it was. Ooh, it's a one-handed sword. I dig it. Is it faith? Yep. I don't dig it that much. Okay, I found my way here before and I didn't go into the main... God damn it, that would have been so useful on our playthrough. Well, now we have to help you beat it because Kami wants to do New Game Plus, so... Sorcery of the Inquisitors of the Tower. Wielded as an incantation of the spiral. A swing of the arm releases a giant golden arc. Charging enhances potency. The arc resembles the barb, a known symbol of coercive questioning. Ah. So the horn scent... We know that this is their place because of this thing that we just interacted with, the light statue. This is all their shit. These torrents of me didn't bump. What the fuck died here? I guess the giant monster killed something. Or the furnace golems killed them. This is like... This has to belong to... The reason I'm questioning... You know what this actually looks like? Let me see if I can... find... Knight's Sacred Ground. I think this is the place I'm thinking of. Give me a second. Yeah. Somewhere here, there's almost the exact same layout in a boss room. What's up, Mimic Tears? So these guys are all electricity and the night. They have ghost flame, torches. And then this is where you find the black blade used to kill. But also, there's a big old lady sitting on this fucking place. Did you notice this? The corpse on the building by chance? Who the fuck is that? Oh, the Silver Tears. That's right. They straight up like, they just mimic you, 100%. Okay, that just went through you. Ow, ow. Do you drop anything fancy lore-wise? You take a minute to die. Okay. So they've seen giants in this state down here. I like that I can summon my Mimic Tier. Whoa. It's eerie looking and seeing like another person down the way. I'm like, oh shit. And then I'm guessing Nascent Butterfly? Nascent Butterfly. Silver Tier Husk. Hold on. Maybe get a bit of lore off of useless items. The Silver Tear makes mockery of life, reborn again and again into imitation. Perhaps one day it will be reborn a lord. Now that just confirms my theory, in my opinion, because the whole fucking thing is that America was like her own, like before Radagon and all that, during like the Glomite Queen War, she was a fierce warrior and became like the lord of her time for the Erdtree. And then they went and got Horaloo and Radagon, or well, pretended to be Radagon. And all that stuff played out with Renala. Straight up just says the Mimic wants to become a lord. There's a grace here. Yeah, it's like a throne that you're at. And then of course you could jump here for some more lore. Apparently there was going to be the Mimic tier quest around here somewhere. Oh, fuck, that was close. Utility ahead. That's funny because it's a lie. We know. Oh, there's a person down. I think that's literally where the Mimic tier quest was going to start. So they make a mockery of life. Silver tier husk. Where do these come from? Is it just like dripping? Okay, she charged and jumped at me and died. Even the minute items can still give you some crazy lore like that. I'm also noticing that they can take the form of a lady or a man. Huh? Radagon. America. Also, this architecture with the things sticking out, like the people sticking out, is mirrored in the final zone. And that isn't like preset asset architecture kind of shit that you could argue like, oh, it's kind of the same, but they just reuse assets. It's like, no, that's like a distinct design choice. There's no preset asset that has fucking corpses coming out of it. Stones like that. Because they reuse it in a different area entirely and it's new. So. Mirrored, you say? Oh, shit. We might be onto something. Oh. I guess I meant, it's just also the same type. Like, you'll see it here and you'll see it there. It would be fun if it was literally mirrored, because then I could be like, oh shit! You're right! So this place did exist before America turned to, like a god or whatever. Or this place existed before America got rid of death, or the rune of death, because there were graves. That's what the secret room is trying to show us. You pay to get in here, but it's actually a lore room. Not only do you get the spirit ash, which may also tell us some lore, now that I'm thinking about it. Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? I know she's real. The real girl. You can't lie. Night Maiden and Swordstress. An old puppet crafted in the Eternal City. That's the lore I was talking about, baby! I'll explain why in a second. Used to summon the spirits of a Night Maiden and a Swordstress, the sisters, members of a cold-blooded race who wield flowing weapons, became puppets of their own volition. So they chose to be puppets, But that shows that the puppet craft predates Celavis, which goes to show, when we were talking about the puppet we found in this tower, that it actually ties again this shaman village just up the cliff. The only way you can get to this tower is through the jump puzzle at the fucking shaman village. Is a Knox City puppet, baby. Because it wasn't Celavis who made that shit. We know that those people, like, existed before Celavis and were imprisoned as children or whatever the fuck, right? Holy shit. I'm glad that we're doing this lore walk around, because I'm like, this is where we found this item. Maybe now in this new context with the DLC, it'll tell us something. It's like, yeah, this place existed underground, right? There's death magic here they worshipped, and there's this giant goddess in this matriarchal underground society. Cut back up top, there's a matriarchal society of women who worshipped an unnamed goddess between an albinoric shack and a puppet made by the same people. Oh my god. The more I analyze the is she an albinoric, the more I'm convinced. Let's go back. Well, we don't need to, but we will anyway. The albinoric lady we find here, the blonde one, is a specific type of albinoric. She is, out of all of the albinorics, of all of the weird and ugly appearances and all the different kinds, this is a first generation albinoric. That's what this is called. When they're a lady like this. A blonde lady. So you mean to tell me that the first generation looks like America? Stay down, please, ma'am. Which suggests that the oldest versions of them that were around at this time, when the albinorics, you know, might have sought refuge from this crazy underground society, using them as... Clearly things didn't go right because the mimics had an uprising, and now only mimics are around. Now there are only mimics. Mimic tier. And there are husks of the mimic that suggest that the mimics want to become a lord. Of course, implied story. Actually, not even really implied, it's just explicitly stated in the item description that they are husks, right? This is where they come from, and hopes to become a lord one day, so. They want to mimic you. That's their goal. Technically, one of them succeeded. This is the story of the albinorics and the mimics. Genuinely. The one mimic that is with you, the mimic tier, they do copy you. Legendary Ashen remains. Used to summon the spirit of a mimic tier. Summoning consumes HP rather than FP. This spirit takes the form of the summoner to fight alongside them, but its mimicry does not extend to imitating the summoner's will. Mimic tiers are the result of an attempt by the Eternal City to forge a lord. So they probably wanted to forge a lord in opposition to the horn scent above, who they were hiding from. The, like, beast folk descendants who were stuffing people like them into jars. it would make the most sense. I feel we've almost concluded the lore now. If we replay the game on New Game Plus, and I only find evidence that she's an Albinoric, then I'm going to just, by the next time we're standing here overlooking the city, the Eternal City, we will know if we were right or not. But look at this place. Look at this place. Look at that. Look at that walkway. Look at those walkways. Look at that sky. Tell me. That shit doesn't look like this over here. Let's see if we get a good angle of it, actually. Nope. This is in a pit. This one's probably the better angle. Here we go. Look at that. You mean to tell me that that isn't a spire made for the Crucible and shouldn't be aimed at the Crucible? Look at that at the top. That's the boss room. We've been there. We've killed a person in there. But these walkways are curved, where these ruined walkways are straight. So maybe there was a war between whoever resided in these ruins and the Crucible. And the Crucible won. And forced the residents underground into hiding. And then, after marching and celebrating and creating fucked up death rite songs, right, based on the lions and all the things we fought, America, one of the shaman, was attacked, or their village at least was attacked by the Horn Scent. The residents, innocents, kidnapped and tortured and stuffed away the loved ones of America, so she would pray for the power to seek vengeance, which would probably be given to her based on how Moog's story is and how all of the outer gods work, where it's like if they sense injustice, if they sense that like you're determined, if you have strong will, they don't give a fuck who you are or what you are. You could be a dragon, you could be a beast man, you could be a person, you could be a fungus. If you're strong of will, it'll give you power. So she's given a new grace of gold. Becoming a god herself, which we know she is a god, right? So then she pretty much unknowingly avenges this ancient ruins, because it's the same architecture as the Eternal City, but the Eternal City shares that place's design, where there are like corpses hanging off this. Let's see if we can get a good look at them. In the bent, spirally, strange horn scent area, there are like bodies hanging off the castle, like barely. We've got to get a good angle. There's no way we don't. You suck. I don't want to fight you. I want to look for the lore. This is descending into either stone or the water. There they are. Above me, where like this pillar is sticking up out of my head. Wait. Ah! I knew it was gonna happen. But you saw, if you pause the video right there, you can see the things I was talking about. there are those corpses as part of the architecture, which they aren't in that straight path area ruins that's connected to this. To the like burning of the tree. See down there? It's all straight. Looks like Eternal City. Then you go up here and it's all spiraled like the Crucible. And then there are corpses. Let's see if we can get past this guy. Yep. We can rest here, I think. Yep. Not really spoilers, because I'm not really going to go anywhere where there's key items or anything. I just want to show you a feature of the architecture. Those things. All of those corpses hanging on for dear life. It looks like they were all climbing the tower. They don't actually even look like features of the architecture. They look like people were crawling up the tower at some point and then everyone was turned to stone. I mean, the fact that they're like floating though kind of suggests that they were built there, but look how he's like held up by his friend's legs. They're like holding on to each other, clawing up this thing. There are dragon wings in there. They're like string knots. Actually, I think the dragon bones might just be floral designs, just very fucking large. But they're all sitting here, look, praying at the base of trees. So these guys, thinking they are righteous in the strongest, may the strongest survive kind of thing, the like evolutionary process of the Crucible, even though it's like not as elegant as the other grace, they then started making these like the different symbolisms of the two fingers, right? So we know that the fingers had something to do with this place being built up. And the spirals to pierce the heavens because of the Crucible. Now the trees make more sense as to why they're spiral designed. Because they're trying to be like a current, a torrent of magic. More so than like an actual tree. Or even how trees really grow, and they're likening it to torrents of magic. There's just so much goddamn evidence here. I think we could call it though. I've scouted out the map, found as much evidence as I could, went back through the old world, and even found evidence of what I was talking about in relation to the DLC. If this whole spiral rise, if all of the thorns are part of this, the shadow tree, right? And corruption brought afterwards, and Mesmer's flame is required to burn it away or whatever, then you can kind of see where the rock formation cuts off as well. The whole ledge in the outer, like this, the whole structure of this place is almost called into question. Is the, or not structure of this place called into question, but placement of the structure is very much called into question. The hell is that over there? It's just another person praying. We actually been over there. All of these things descend super far down. They are in prayer to trees. I guess the final verdict, yeah. I was gonna say, which direction are they praying? It's this way, right? This is the way to the final boss room. This is the direction they'd be praying. And of course, it is the direction I say the crucible would be. Right? We're looking west. We're looking west. Actually, if we're looking at the tree itself, we're looking perfectly where it aligns to. Right? Or we're right here looking this way. So I think this is where the crucible used to be. Right in the center. This is where the map probably goes. And one of the biggest evidence is that these divine towers kind of circle this area, that there's nothing, as well as this gladiator ring that's supposed to be facing the crucible. And the Halig tree has similar towers extending out from the tree that is more in shape of the crucible, because we now know Miquella's whole thing at the end of the DLC. So he's trying to be forgiven by the crucible people. He's trying to revert it back to like Catholicism from Christianity, but all religion is fucking dumb in this world. Because the fingers are like, they were abandoned as well by the greater will. So all of it, at least in this world, is another allegory. Another Dark Souls allegory for religion, following religion blind in the name of a god you don't know the morals of is a bad thing. So, whether it be Gwyn perpetuating the Age of Fire and sacrificing people in the undead asylum, just letting them rot and hollow away out of fear that one of them might become a lord of some sort, the Lord of Cinder. All the way to now, where America shattered the Elden Ring out of some sort of fear that her age would be ending, thinking that one of her descendants she created would rise and replace her in the Golden Order, following the Erdtree and not the Crucible. So she wants, instead of the Age of Fire, she wants the Golden Order in the Age of Gold, I guess, to stay around. Where Miquella wants to go back to the Shadowlands here and find out the truth, as well as resolve the sin. But the thing is, they're trying to be forgiven by the Hornsent, who were the pillagers of the Shaman village, the original trespassers and transgressors on Marika. I think Marika was wronged here, we can say that without a doubt, by the Bonnie village people, which we know again without a doubt. And then Bonnie village people worship the shadow flame, or the ghost flame, so it has something to do with the death in the shadow tree, which is maybe even in opposition to the Crucible. So maybe that could have also been the betrayal, is that Marika sided with the Hornsent's power and the Crucible tree to get the Erdtree, like part of it, and then after she got her thing here from the Erdtree, she went up and betrayed them here using the Grace of Gold. And it actually would make sense that she banished the entirety of this zone that she's from, because she wouldn't want anyone becoming a god from her home or knowing her origin, right? If they know she's an Albinoric, they know she's a shaman, if they know the origin of any of this, the crucible, all of that shit, it could go against the Golden Order and make her seem mortal, like how Gwyn was trying to stay like a deity and not a furtive pygmy, like everyone else was. And then all of the humans would realize that pretty much anyone could truly become a god if they claimed a Lord's soul. Then everyone would be fighting for the Lord's souls in Dark Souls, right? That it's pretty much their version of that. She's trying to prevent people from fighting over the Lord's souls by saying, I'm going to hide the origin and no one will know how I became a god. So the land of which she became a god, she sealed away in shadow. And I guess Mikola wanted to unearth it. So after delving into the depths of secrecy and all of the stuff in the Golden Order, you find his butterflies like everywhere. So he literally journeyed all around, even in secret places like the underground city. Shit, places where he shouldn't have been, he journeyed, but his power is love, so no one would hurt him. So it makes sense that he could go anywhere and gather any information from anyone. So he eventually finds the secrets he's after and says, oh, that's how my mother became a god. It's in a secret world she hid away. Ah, now I kind of pieced it. I think I just pieced it together saying that. So Mikola, after journeying through the lands between and finding all of Marika's secrets, abandoned fundamentalism, knowing it couldn't help his sister, and then said, I'm going to become a god to... See, this is where my problem comes in. Going to become a god to what now? Save your sister? She's dead. Save your brother? He's dead. Save your other brother's spirit? It's gone. All of Mikola's actions end up being selfish in the end. They're all for him. To become a god, for people to worship him, for all of the mortals in the land between that he's journeyed through, and he has sentimental attachment to as a demigod, right? That's the true secret. It's like his love is what ends up making him a bad guy. Is that he loves everyone in the world, but then he forsakes his love to become a god that's like gonna try and take over everyone's mind to usher in a era of peace? These are question marks, because we're kind of assuming his, like, we're assuming his motives in the end. It's like again, it goes to the all of the Souls series. Do the ends justify the means? Typically the answer with Miyazaki is no. The ends do not justify the means. Even if there are immortal people, dying sucks. Is pretty much how everything can be broken down to in the Souls series. Doesn't matter if you're immortal, death will still mean something, and it sucks to die. So all of these people in the lands between who are immortal, like again, the Ronnie ending being the good one, granting them the grace of death is probably the best thing you could do, because they're suffering and they're like withering away and hollowing out like in Dark Souls, but even worse. Because it's not just like your soul, apparently, with the Shadow Realm thing, it's like your body can fade, the stone that makes you up can fade, and it'll just be the spirit of the stone. It, like, that's crazy, but there are spirit stones, that's their story. So it's like, even, I mean, that's a way of explaining the corpses that fade, but the ghosts still stay in the lands between. It's like, there's so much to this goddamn world. It's crazy. I could talk for hours on end, which I just have, about it, but I feel like there are people who don't agree because of other, like, theories online, but the things that I'm trying to pose are less of like, I'm trying to analyze the definitive stuff so that we can open theories up. I'm not trying to say like this is exactly 100%, as I showed with like all of the different map things, because it's like technically Miyazaki could say any of these are true. It's just this is the one I think makes the most sense. It's a whole extension of the lands between. And that is why it's hidden away. And that is why it's got its own tree. And there could be more lands, like Orange said. We out here. Okay. Like I said with ending it, though, I believe we could call it here. There's not really much else without rehashing everything. I did want to make this. I did want to make this stream because Vati Vidya just released a theory video, but he ignored one of the biggest lore items in the fucking game, which was Marika's talisman. Why would Marika make a wish here? What would her wish be? You know what I mean? No one's around, and Marika left and never returned home again. This was fun. Thank you. A banger. Hell yeah. I went over a lot of lore, but I kept going to the places. The only thing I haven't found, and it's bothering the fuck out of me, is the underground area where there are jar people. The jar people are like the linchpin for my fucking theory. I can't find them. I guess but we'll look that up right before we go. That'll be the last thing I do. Yeah, so the other people are kind of picking up what I'm putting down. So it's easy to understand why Alexander the Iron Fist and the Living Jar is more general. And well, okay, yeah. So this is about the other jars. Shaman Village. Oh Mother Gesture. Bonnie Village. Furnace Golem. Shadow Tree. This is the Golden Braid. Yeah, see. Fuck, what is it called? Underground Cave DLC area, Elden Ring. I know there's a ton of them. Yeah, I was afraid of that. It was gonna show me. The wrong one. Oh well, that's crazy. Fuck, man. There's just so many jar people in the game that looking up jar people doesn't actually help. However, I have like a hunch that it would be around. I mean, we've already been there is the problem, so it's one of these fucking many sites. You just don't know which one opens. Killer Path, Ruined Forge, it's not that. It's not the Dragon Pit. Oh shit! The Dragon Pit has the same architecture as Farum Azula. Lamenter's Jail? Maybe it was the Lamenter's Jail and I've just been hovering over it the whole time. Oh, I think I was right. Yep. So look. First clue. Ghost Flame, like in the Eternal City. Right? So that's one thing that's weird. Oh fuck, it's gonna be locked, isn't it? Fuck. Ah. These guys that look kind of like the clay dudes. However, but they are horn sent. They have the horns. They're the ones who run the jail. Ow. Ow. You're just like deranged people. Let's be real. So this is the place. So the horn sent definitely run the jail. And of course there are jars like Alexander, and then there are these people. So this is a lady. Look, I thought it was a dude with long hair. Gross. But it's a lady. And just white hair. So she either was blonde or is also, and like the magic effect had paled her out because she's clearly still got blood, which is gross. But also, the other theory is she's old as fuck. And this is probably one of the shamans from that village, and it happened so long ago. And there's still some of them hanging around in these jars. Please, I can't stand the sound. I need no salvation. Please, do stop. Wait, what? The wretched elimination. I missed that middle one. I can't stand the sound. I need no salvation. Please stop. Desist. Your wretched lamentation. Okay. We're getting tackled. Ooh, prattling pate lamentation. I think there's gonna be someone screaming, but this should give us lore. Twisted clay sculpt in the shape of a human head emits a blissful lamentation. Okay. The voice resounds, seeping into the brain, weeping, weeping, weeping. Ever weeping. Okay, that's darker than I thought. Okay, yep, that's what I thought it was gonna be someone crying. You're beautiful. So, the people in the jail are lamenting. They are stuffed into jars, which is gross and sad and depressing. And they're shaman people. That's the shamans. That's not even like debatable. That's canon. Those are the shamans. That's what happened to them. The Bonnie Village whip thing, or I forget. I think I have the item so I could show it. Apparently there's a whip that confirms it. I might have the item. Yep. Whip bestrewn with rotting, misshapen teeth, filthy and seething with disease. The teeth are embedded in the whip and dose the victim with deadly poison upon each strike. As the wounds ripen, they grow inflamed and ooze pus. The flesh of shamans was said to meld harmoniously with others. A lot of lore goes over my head, but jar people are actually people in jars. Clearly don't read anything. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, right? They're the sinners. Well, that's the messed up part. There's like two different versions. There's like the modern version of jar people, and then there's this version of jar people. The modern version of jar people are like the Alexander jars, which are just sinners stuffed into jars. But now we know that the sin was being born. All those baby jars are probably baby shaman mimic people. Alright, here. That also goes with what I'm kind of saying. So, here, I'll go a little bit over lore again. Not really spoilers, but more here. Church District High Road. So, you asked about the rebirth things. There are only so many in the game. They are called larval tears, right? We all know them. They're pretty important. However, they added a new type of larval tear. Functions exactly the same, but its story is different. This is a mimic larval tear, known as a silver tear. As much a substance as it is a living organism, you're pretty much using the basis of a mimic to rebirth, right? It's I think the essence of their ability, their adaptability. You're kind of breaking it down through the emerald egg, but somehow it's related to the amber egg. I said emerald egg. It's somehow related to the amber egg, but boom, an exceptionally rare creature that burgeons from spirit graves and lives only a fleeting existence. Neither flesh nor spirit, but something in between. This also functions exactly the same, right? So it's like a mimic might have copied this. Where would a mimic learn to copy a larval tear? Well, another America's a mimic albinoric theory. Hear me out. You go right here near her house, and you wait until nighttime, and then the graves show up. Alongside, what the fuck? Oh, that was a wolf. right there. And then, of course, they have a larval tier within them. So I think not only are the shamans albinorics, and they were born through extraction like it's mentioned in the forge item that I found. I forget which one it is, but I read it on stream that the albinorics were born through extraction, which is cool. I think this is kind of where they not started, but like started to understand. Didn't expect something incredible. Behold, night. So, you come here and you find pretty much a ghost larval tier, but it's its own creature, it's its own thing, separate from the mimics. But like I said, where the hell would the mimics know to mimic these ghost essence of like a living, non-living thing? So, I think it's here. And then the albinorics are the ones that were stuffed into the jars. I think the tiny jars are just like larval tiers. Tiny, like freshly extracted albinorics that like didn't have a chance to grow. Which is kind of even sadder. They're not even babies because there's no real reproduction. It's mentioned, right? But like there were people with kids. However, it's America who has kids is one of the main problems, and it's with herself as Radagon. So it's like we don't really even know anything about how kids are made in this world. Where do babies come from? No, the only thing we have to go on of where babies come from, not really babies, but like where the mimic babies potentially come from, is that they learned to mimic the larval tiers around these areas, where there's this rise, which has a the Eternal City puppet inside, for one of the Night Maidens, whose whole thing also kind of goes with Marika's story. There's a lot of tie-ins. It all ends up going back. It's like looping back in on itself, like the Elden Ring, I swear to God. But it really does. Like, you'll find a character that's seemingly unimportant. Then you read the item description and you're like, holy fuck. Like, their whole life was uprooted by Marika's, like one command. You know? You don't even really think about it. But there's so many things. So, strangely, outside of Eternal City Rise place with a puppet, there's larval tiers, so maybe they found that. Also, the shaman are up the street at the top of this, and then there are the fingers, which are fungus. So many questions. I think this being in proximity to this village is why she trusts the fingers so much that she thinks that the next god should be determined by the fingers, not even just the runes, but just whatever one the finger says, the greater will says. She trusts the fingers a lot, and it would make sense if, you know, not that's where she gets her powers from, but she grew up in a society that overlooked and was kind of raised by him, you see? Okay, like I said, all kind of goes back in on itself. Crazy. Okay, I could talk about like 40 more connections, but I've already looped around to them earlier in the stream, so I'm good. However, I do implore you to look for holes in the theory. And when I do get around to New Game Plus, hopefully, we find more answers. I might do a New Game Plus 100% playthrough, but if you need a summon, let me know, Orange. Not a summon to my world, but if you need me to get summoned so that we could beat something together, I'm down. I'll be calling it here now. Actually, finally, I'm hovering over stop stream. I just like this game too much. Did want to say I was like wrong about Mesmer and Mikola being the same person. I'm pretty sure they never explicitly say he's not, but they do kind of hint that like he's his own person and had his own story separate from Mikola. So, pretty sure that's conclusive evidence enough. But yeah, bye. I think that was like one of the only things that I was wrong about, aside from the final ending I guessed it, like to a T, except one character was swapped out. But that was the whole plot twist of the DLC. So I'm happy I fell for the plot twist and I didn't guess it after guessing the whole fucking story. But yeah, thanks to Henry, because he could have spoiled the whole thing for me, and he was in chat just waiting for my reaction to see like the partial I'm right, which was cool. So thanks everyone. See ya. Calling it here.